Hi guys, welcome to the Roadman Show. Today on the show, we'll be talking about the current happenings and awareness in our society. And I have with me this gentle gent. To my right is Damilola Tokumbo. Is the director, CEO of Harmonic Space. And to my left is Samuel Nwani. He's the director to Oyo State Justice for All Citizen JFA, Human Rights Organization. How are you guys doing?
Fine, fine, my bro.
I'm fine, thank
Are
you
you
for
good?
having me. I'm good.
Thank you for coming to the Roadman Show and you're welcome to the Roadman Show.
It's a pleasure.
Firstly, I would like us to talk about the insecurities that is happening, that have been ongoing. It's not new, that's been ongoing. Firstly, to Oyo State, it's been 50 days today that the children and teachers, you know, has been missing. And yesterday, the social media activist, very dark man, allegedly says that he heard or he got an intel that the state government, um, paid ransom to the bandits. How does this sound to you guys? Sam?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. This situation is a very, very sad situation to start with. This is beginning to sound like the Chibok situation. And the earlier the government intervenes in this situation, the better for the situation. If not, Nigerians will move on from the situation,
Mhm.
which is a very, very sad occurrence. 50 days, they have toddlers with them in that bush.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we went out to protest in different times in Oyo State, so that the government does not forget these children. The teacher that was beheaded, we need justice for him as well. So paying ransom to the kidnappers is not something, yes, like very dark man said, there will be casualties. You understand me? But there has to be drastic measures in rescuing these children and also bringing the perpetrators to book, because this is a very, very sad situation.
But on the aspect of security, the state security, let's come down to the state right now. A few weeks ago, there was protests whereby very dark man was in your states, and they met with the governor, and he said, according to him, that security measures have been taken that he cannot disclose. Fast forward to today. Do you really think that this security measure that the governor said has been put into place is in any way active?
Thank you. My own take about all of this is without everybody forgetting the major thing we all want to achieve. We want all those kids and those teachers, we want them back safe.
Yeah.
So, yes, not divulging security information about how they are going about that thing, to say you are trying to preserve how the operation is going so that information and intel don't get leaked to the kidnappers. But at the same time, we deserve to be briefed every now and then about the condition, whatever it is they are facing. Now, reports are coming out saying that the state government paid some ransom to these people, allegedly. Like I said, we don't know how sure that intel is.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's the truth, but right now we cannot just keep assuming. The lives of those kids are at stake. So I just think that I would implore the state government to just keep doing their best. Even last week, I think Sunday Igboho's welcome team was they were humble.
Yeah.
So that gives you some kind of information that this operation is just not a thing that anybody can just jump into. These people they didn't start today. This is a coordinated attack. So
Samuel, in all this, insecurity and a lot that is going on in the country right now. Just yesterday or a few days ago, there was this news about the Ministry of the Presidential Foreign Observation Promotion. What kind of ministry is that? Like, Isn't this strange? How true is that? Or is it just a rumor?
Well, we've been seeing it all over social media, and I think we have to deal with the facts first.
Yeah.
You understand me? Before somebody will self-proclaim themselves as a director general of a ministry and get an office in the federal secretariat, you understand me? Then there must be some level of connection with people in power. And let's not forget the fact that 1.3 billion naira was allocated to this
Well,
office.
allegedly.
Allegedly. But the facts are there online. You can see it. It was allocated to them. But the president said they didn't know the person. The person is an imposter. Then how come?
An imposter in
Then-
in a ministry.
In the ministry, then how come did he get an office in the federal secretariat? You understand me? How come? That means this is the only one we've seen. There might be
Fraud.
more that we don't know.
There's
That
ministerial fraud.
ministerial fraud. You understand me? Which is very, very appalling. Which is very, very. These are taxpayers' money going to fake ministries. And who do we hold accountable for this?
I actually overheard you saying it earlier that there are pictures of this said director with the EFCC chairman and all that. How true is that?
The claims are out there online, and each day passing, we see different evidence that these things, this kind of a thing, don't just happen without having an insider in it. And that's why I say that I don't know how we, as a country or as a system, how we got here. How the system can be that porous for an imposter to bring the whole a whole ministry,
Yeah.
operate over 34 bank accounts, not
34
just
bank accounts.
not just ordinary accounts that civilians can just walk into bank and open. This is not a tech bank opening. You understand? So that's how you come to think of it. Like, how did this all happen? A ministry having over 300 workers, government workers. What do you say to those people? Are they working in an institution that does not even really operate in the real sense of it? How do we? Because when the presidency spoke through its spokesperson and said they deny knowing this person. So how those workers, we saw pictures and videos of this so-called minister attending to foreign nationals, going to meetings, doing live and conferences, summits, doing all of these things, meeting prestigious people within and outside of the government. So you don't just come you don't just come by this kind of a thing. So there's a hand in it. Who are we? Just like Sam said, who are we holding responsible?
That's question how I've never gotten answered because it's just been debatable questions that we just kept talking about, and at the end of the day, we don't even know the right source or person to hold accountable for all this stuff. Because the citizens are all used to putting the blame on the president. But in this kind of situation, Samuel, do you feel this is being played out by the president? Or how does all this fraud of ministry, creating a ministry, who do you feel you can point out to this?
Well, this just goes to show you the rot in our system. You have to understand that corruption has eaten into every fabric of this country. Now there are procedures in procuring an official space in the federal secretariat.
Yeah.
There are procedures in registering that anything they want to do in that office space, there are procedures to it. And like he rightly said, this individual has a bank account with the central bank. There are procedures in getting a central bank account. You and I cannot open a central bank. It's not like OPay. There you just upload NIN and do it from your comfort of your home. No, this is a central bank, for crying out loud. So how did it happen? Who we have to hold accountable are the people that are involved in the process, from getting the office space to registering the bank account to allocating funds. Now, I'm not trying to take the president out of the blame. You understand me? But this could be done by an insider who is close to the president. They might shuffle a file inside the list of files and give him to sign.
Yeah.
He is not meticulous enough to go through all of them. I believe they said there are over 500 ministries. This man might not be able to go through all of them, which shows that he's not meticulous enough to even be there in the first place. Now, the bulk of the blame goes to his table first and foremost. Before we now start investigating how we got an office in the Federal Secretariat, how we opened a CBN bank account, and how he has been operating over time, meeting prestigious people outside and inside Nigeria.
With a ministry tag.
With the ministry tag in the Federal Secretariat. Do you know how secure that Secretariat is? This is not Oyo State Secretariat. Federal Secretariat. You have an office space there operating under the guise of you being the Director General of that space.
If this kind of situation or this kind of allegation is being blew out, like let's say this is just like a whistleblower, right? Who should be the first to respond to such allegation?
Well, the presidency, that I've always said, and they've come out to debunk not knowing that individual, which raises concerns because there are facts that are pointing to the fact that there is knowledge of this individual and this agency. There are facts online that are pointing to that. They've been allocated funds. 1.3 billion is not one naira. You understand me? So they've been operating. So the presidency has to answer for that. And they've debunked not knowing anything. Allegedly, the chief of staff is linked to this thing as well. As is Femi Biamila is linked to this as well. So, but like we know Nigeria, it will go under the carpet very soon, which is not supposed to be. This has to be investigated. 1.3 billion of taxpayers' money going to an agency that does not exist. It is sad. It just goes to show the rot in our system. That is why in the next election, youth should not take it for granted because there are a lot of things happening in our country that we don't even know. We are not privy to those informations. This is just one of so many that has leaked out. You understand me? So it shows that the presidency has to be meticulous in whatever decision they are making because it affects all of us in the long run. This paints a bad image of Nigeria in the global world.
Thank you very much. Dami, talking about the youth involvement in politics, do you feel the youth are actually connected directly or indirectly with politics?
Thank you for that question. And my first question to you is Desmond Elliot still a youth? Because I had to ask you, because if Desmond Elliot is truly being named as a youth, I think we should find him in places that are that he has got to do one or two things for the youth. If you claim he's a youth, and just like you said, you don't know much of them. If there has been one or a couple of them making waves, I don't think you'll have found it hard to know, because you will have probably heard in the news, you'll have probably heard of his doings. But me and you and I, let's ask ourselves the real question: has there been anybody exceptional as a youth going in there? Because yes, everybody keeps clamoring for a youth president and all of that. But yes, we have not. We can just have some, but I wouldn't really classify anybody who is above 50 as a youth any longer.
Yeah.
Question is, are they really driving the change? In my own opinion, I'll say no. I've not really been seeing, we've seen a couple of youths. Desmond Elliot is an example, and some other ones. But it has nothing has really changed. They've not really been driving the force we're expecting them to drive. You understand? And the only system and the pattern we have seen is that the moment you can't beat them, they join them. And that's why you see some of them, after clamoring and wanting to just be a part of them, when they get to be a part of them, they cannot even drive a simple motion.
Yeah.
They cannot even stand up and speak. You could imagine during the 2020 NSAS and all of it, Desmond Elliot should not be able to say something. That was the reason I was asking you, if are you really classifying Desmond Elliot as a youth? Because during the struggles of the youth, he was nowhere to be found. And in fact, during the times that X, now formerly Twitter, was banned, we were
Yeah.
expecting him to say a whole lot of things. He joined the wagon of them criticizing the youths, just like they have always done, because they know the youths are helpless. There's nobody to drive a real force. There's nobody to So we just got to speak for ourselves. But I will not say I'm being impressed, but it does not mean that there are not young ones out there really willing to do these steps. But the system has really made it seem like they cannot really do much, because here getting into the parties, into the party systems before they get to the top, they have to be errand boys to one or two political godfathers,
Yeah.
and all these things, instead of having to build a name for themselves through a positive change. I'm saying, yes, I'm open. Just like I feel we all will be hoping to see somebody someday, drive a real change. People like Sankara, young minds that, and I think the president Traore of Burkina Faso is doing something. And but I just, I like us emulating from the good side.
Thank you very much. Sam, why do you feel there is no exceptional government bodies or governments that has done something different even if it is not being continued, that people would have wished stay longer? Which government can you actually point out to be like that in the history of Nigeria?
That is a very, very serious question. Now, I would not want to um, water down the advancement of democracy from 1999. You understand me? Now, we've not had a perfect system, but we must all agree that there has been some um, improvement, innovation from 1999 down to now. We may not be where we need to be right now.
Yeah.
We may not be where we are supposed to be right now. You understand? But if you look from back then, there has been some changes. But that does not mean we should start celebrating mediocrity. Now, for young people going into politics, like Mr. Dami said, they go into politics being errand boys to these politicians. They learn things from these politicians. They've affiliated with these politicians. They know the nitty-gritties, nooks and crannies of the political space. But the thing is that they are learning only the bad side of politics from these politicians. They do not have the interest of the people they represent. That is why young people they don't achieve much in politics. The issue of godfatherism is also one of them. Because if I promise to put you as the local government chairman of a local government and make it possible for you to be there, to some certain degree, you owe me some loyalty, political loyalty. You owe me that. That's why you can see in the case of Nyesom Wike and Fubara, there's an element of godfatherism in there, and it's all over our politics. Now you understand that this is a pattern. Before they get into politics, they are always clamoring for change. They are always thinking they'll do something different. A prime example is the NLC chairman, former NLC chairman, Adams Oshomole. Before he affiliated with politics, he had this ideology of fighting for the rights of the people, fighting for labor, fighting for the masses in general. But when he got there, what happened? The fact that he has affiliated with them, bad company corrupts good manners. You understand me? You've affiliated with them, there's nothing good that comes out of it. That's why President will show his idea. He is not affiliated with these people in any way. He has not been in that political meeting or political class or gathering. You understand me? That's why it's easy for him to say, yes, we can do things differently. And that's why he has been persecuted so much, because he's one young man that I know that he would indeed make a change in Nigeria. But for the rest that have affiliated with these politicians, that have served them, worked with them, I highly doubt they would even change.
A whole lot of people don't know a lot of things. I keep asking people lately, including youths, people of boys of who are just turning 18, that they don't really understand. Because yes, I remember there was a time when we were going, or when it was time for us start voting. There was more of, during my own time, I don't know, there was more of the urge that I'm now an adult, that I'm now an adult old enough to vote. I wanted to do it. I wanted to I wanted to go through the practice. But when you think about the way you take it now, you tell them to go and get their, do you have a PVC? They just laugh at you. And they be like, uh, they don't know the person where they will give. You just they waste your time. You just
Yeah,
and
that kind of
actually
conversation. Yeah.
I now try to let these people know, let them know that the amount of people coming out to vote, if it does not increase, they'll keep making use of that loophole. Now, so we need to let people know these things, that your votes count.
Yeah.
You are participating, you are seeing it. You go to your polling unit after you have voted. You are not just being nonchalant about it. You make sure this thing is being counted in your presence. You know the figure you had in your polling unit. At least you try to pay attention and listen to the one from your polling unit if it collates with what you did and what they announced during. It will be easy to lay claims. You have an evidence. There's a whole lot of things. You can take pictures at your polling center. Nobody will tell you not to take pictures of the results. You can take pictures, to call. So we need to participate, whether we like it or not. The whole lot of us will not leave this country, and this place is our home. There's nowhere anybody wants to. You say you want to travel to now that wants to look like your home. You feel uncomfortable. You not be able to do. Whereas you can do everything. See any one of these bad politicians and parties telling you to go and get your PVCs. They will never tell you to go and get your PVCs. The only reason they'll tell you to go and get your PVCs is when they want to buy it. And just like Mr. Sam said, if your PVC, if your vote doesn't count, there's no reason why anybody would want to put 10,000, 20,000 on your PVC when you are not doing them any good. And you're not the only one it's been done for. They want to do for thousands of people. They want to pay you. It's because they need that thing. They need that thumbprint that belongs to you and you alone.
Between Showore and Peter Obi, these are the two new faces that have never ruled the country. That we feel are the new faces of change that we all want to do. Who do you think is fit for the job?
Without mincing words, without a doubt in my heart, I will vote Showere a million times over Peter Obi.
How about you, Dan?
Presently, in this forthcoming election, I will go for Peter Obi, and I have my reasons. I will go for Peter Obi.
I'll start with you. What is your reason to go with Peter Obi?
Well, the reason I'm going for Peter Obi is Peter Obi is the only problem this APC government has. Take a look at all the ministers, starting from the spokesperson to the president, Mr. Bayo Onuga. They are all obsessed with this man. Totally obsessed. Yes, take a look at Showore. It's not like they don't know what Showore is doing. They feel less concerned. But when it has to do with Peter Obi, their balls are rising. He has the driving force now that we need to get this demonic party out of our system. He has the move. So even if it takes taking advantage of him this time around, we are citizens. The politicians have taken advantage of us for a long time. So now, if it is the other way around, if it is that we are taking advantage of him right now just to kick APC out of power, not because we just want to kick them out, we want somebody who is empathetic enough to lead us. As a leader, you must be ready to serve. These are the kind of people we see that want to serve. They want to, they want to drive a real impact. They want to live. They want to drive positive developments. They are rolling with time. They know what's going on. So I don't. I'm not a tribalistic person, but I want to see something you are capable of doing. He cannot solve all our problems. Don't get me wrong. He can only do his part. But presently we need to drive on the right path to redeveloping this country.
And you feel Peter Obi is the right
So I feel is the right to redevelopment.
Thank you very much.
It's the path to the redevelopment.
Mr. Samuel, why do you feel Showore is the man for the job?
Now, first and foremost, contrary to what he said, that the APC government is obsessed with Peter Obi, it is very, very clear to know who they are obsessed with. You know how many times they've persecuted Showore in this government just because of what? Him exercising his freedom of speech. Taking him to court, involving DSS, harassing him, assaulting him. Has Peter Obi gone through any of that?
Yeah.
That is to show you that there is quality in that man that they are oppressing. Now, Showore was not only fighting for himself, he was fighting for others as well. When they released him from Kuje, he said something very remarkable. Yes, they are arresting him now, arresting him now. Nobody can say a thing. Atiku, Obi cannot say a thing.
Obi mentioned something about
What
it.
did they do?
Obi said in, I think, the following day after Showore was arrested, he took a jab at this government that they keep oppressing the people whenever they speak up,
I want to
and
correct you.
and that the act in which they are prosecuting Showore for is just a freedom of speech
I
kind
want
of
to
a
correct
thing.
you. That he said this after they registered the NDC.
Well,
After the issue with Tenaz, when it now came out to speak up.
I think that's
You
how
understand me?
that's how
Now,
you have
let-
chosen
now,
to see it.
let- no, I'm
But
not
whether
trying to
he
see
has
it that
spoken,
way.
you
Let
said
me-
he has
let
not
me
spoken up.
explain
He
to
has
you.
spoken up.
Yes, that was after he had issue with INEC and
As Atiku
NDC.
said anything.
Leave Atiku out of this.
You should not.
Atiku is
We
an
should
old
not
chick
leave-
from the
we
block.
should not
You
leave
understand?
Atiku out of it.
It's the same thing with all of them.
Atiku is
Let
a
me
running
tell you
candidate as
something.
well.
Peter Obi is just playing emotional politics. He doesn't have the balls. If Showore had the numbers Peter Obi had in last election,
Why-
they would not win that election.
Why
It is not
is
possible.
okay now? They are both aspirants now. Why is Showore not having these numbers? Is anything stopping Showore from
I think-
having these numbers?
I think
It is the
that's-
consciousness of the youth.
no.
We are not conscious enough.
I'll have to disagree with you.
No, what? No.
You know, remember that offline we've always talked about these issues. And I would like to make my point very brief and clear as fast as possible.
Okay.
This is it. I said something about regarding Showore, which is this: a dog that is outside a gate barking, right, can never secure a home. I said this thing about Showore that ever since you have been an advocate for change in Nigeria, right from the SUG, student union chairman, to whatever, why haven't you started up your political career as at then that you've been, we all know that he's politically exposed. He was seen behind Abiola at this stage. But this man never did it. He's been like just a revolutionary, a full revolutionary, without just fighting everyone that is not governing right. But then again, how do you show me a role, right, without you clearing the paths? Do you understand? No,
I don't
I'm
understand.
not done
In
yet.
what regard?
In many regards. Now, this person is coming now claiming to be a president. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have never had any track. That is when you were talking about his track record. You were just talking about how he's been antagonizing and opposing politicians. That is the only thing you are able to figure or point out to me about Showore. That Showore is always speaking up about bad governance. It's always this, that's why they're always talking up. But that says something about, for me to be able to say you are a right candidate, I should be able to see. Let's take an instance. If this guy was just a representative in House of Rep alone, right, and he applies this his revolutionary act of, when they bring a bill that is not being favored to the, to the society, or that will not benefit the citizen, he's going to oppose it. Do you know that he will be known as someone in the house, as a crook in the house, someone that is always antagonizing the house, or someone that is, because that's all he does, just go on the street and protest. This is not me acting on him. I'm only saying that this is what I have seen him stand for, just protesting, right, but not holding any offices and making changes on your own part. He's a owner of Sahara Reporter, right? For you as a man to own a firm successfully, and you are still revoluting, you are the first person that break out every news of things happening within the
government
system. Why aren't you then? When you know this, you You're available to every news. You break news first. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know the flaws, that this is where things are wrong with the country. Oh, see the news I heard about Apabio. See what I heard about this and that. But now today, you say me that know all these secrets. The only thing that they do to you is what? Harass you anyhow. Can you ever tell me that, okay, if this man has won a political power or a political office at any stage of his career, do you think he will be molested the way he's been molested? Answer this genuinely.
Showore has not been a part of the system, and that is the advantage that he has. And under the Nigerian Constitution, Section 131, there is nowhere that it says that you must have first gone through the ranks of local government, House of Senate before you be a president. There's nowhere it says that. You understand me? Now, you saying that he has to go through that, I'm just correcting that notion. Now, you said, thank God you said he's been revolutionary. What is a revolutionary person? He has not in any way affiliated with this system. He has, thank God you said there are secrets he knows that we do not know, that we're not privy to that information. You understand me? That is the reason why he's clamoring for a total overhaul of this system, a revolution. You understand me? Like I always say it, Peter Obi is a capitalist. There is nothing he will do differently from what Tinubu is doing.
How? I'm a cause supporter of Peter Obi.
Okay, I'm facing
Right?
Peter Obi for supporters now.
No,
It's fine. No, it's fine.
yeah, no.
It's fine. I want to be tasked. I'll meet you with facts.
Good.
I'll meet you with facts. Let's go.
That's why we're here.
I'll meet you with facts.
There
Let's
is
go.
something that you started off like Peter Obi. This is an accusation.
It's not.
How do you think it's happening?
I'll give you a layman explanation. You understand me? And I'll tell you the difference between a capitalist and a socialist. You understand? A socialist believes that let it all go around. A capitalist wants to maximize
It's
profit.
opportunity.
You understand? Maximize all those things. That is why he has worked in the bank, been a manager of different banks. You understand me?
Yes.
Now, in his portfolio, he said that he will take off subsidy. I'm not saying from my own words. I just gave you a layman explanation of. I just made you understand.
But there was a way he said he was going to take off the subsidy.
Can I ask you how
But
will you do it that there will not be inflation?
He said there was a way.
How?
Now you see that was the reason why lately when they were bashing him for asking him how he was going to solve some of the major problems the country is going through, and he said he wasn't going to share
Specifically electricity.
There was a time, I think pre 2023
election when he was talking about sharing.
Tinubu was being asked like tell us what is it you have for us. Tinubu never said anything. The president rather directed some of his boys, which Malam El Rufai seems to be a part of it, to answer questions on these things. I don't think any Nigerian or anybody had to question him why he did not tell us the thing.
We have to question him. It's not a secret matter. It's not a secret matter.
I'm not saying
You know, if we have to elect you have to tell us how you are going to do the things you claim you want to do.
The president in
Showore has
charge,
been outspoken in this regard.
the president in
He has
charge
told you how to
is
elect
not being
electricity
questioned.
from different forms.
The president,
Showore has said it.
the president in charge has not been questioned on how he wants to effect his changes pre this election. So I don't think, yes, the fact that the president did not state the things he wanted to do does not make another person adamant. But at the same time, it does not make any other person different. The moment you cannot attack the president of the country telling you what he wants to do to this country, I don't think any other person should spill theirs, where the government at the end of the day takes charge of such opportunity or such opinion, and they use it for their own personal interest and their own wins.
Now, do you see the bias? The bias is that, because Tinubu did not share, then Peter Obi should not share.
Yes.
Now what you're saying is that Tinubu might steal
some of the
Peter Obi's idea.
Some of the things they passed in this government are ideas this guy mentioned, and I said, yes, I've said it earlier. I said he cannot
Mr. Dami.
He cannot solve all the problems this country has. It did not all start with one person, and not one person would end the problems of this country. But we need to start from somewhere. Wrong
For the sake
direction.
of people watching, can you actually mention the areas at which you feel that in the past years of this administration?
There was a reform in which they passed about the NIN now becoming like the original number to use. So now when you want to do your international passport, you want to do anything that has to do with immigration, anything that has to do with the core center, more like the NCC. So now, when you have your NIN number, it reveals the information about you as a person. We did not used to have that. Even when the previous government effected that we should all register for the NIN, I don't think they got it perfected to the extent that they had to link it to all of this, NCC, being able to pay tax, to the bank accounts and all of it. They have been able to pass that law that makes everybody being able, so due to your down to your lines, SIM cards, the information is like connected in a way that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How does this improve the standard of living of the common man?
Listen, yes.
How does this
hold on.
the standard of living of the common man? How does this improve the standard of living of the woman selling tomato in the market? How does this improve? I mean, let's talk about real economic reform.
Yes. Listen, whether we like it or not, when we are doing, I'm not an enabler of this government. While we are also trying to fight for them to do more, you understand? Whatever it is they are doing, this I think helps us have a security background that there's nobody
I
that
beg to disagree.
No, you shouldn't.
I beg to disagree.
Because listen,
the bandits that are on TikTok, how do they register their numbers?
Listen,
how do they receive monies? How do they send monies? If there's truly a framework of these security things in place,
that's why
how are they receiving money?
They said
Let's ask ourselves the question.
They said they just we have different ideologies. Yes, that is the angle in which I want you to accept that Peter Obi is not the kind of person Showore is.
Yes.
Whereas Showore is not the kind of person Peter is. Based on assumption now, Showore wins the presidential election. When you are saying this person is bad, that person is bad, who do you want to work with? Are you going to work in the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education,
alone?
Ministry of Insurance, Ministry of Power? When he becomes president, is he still going to be protesting?